Well, how do there, chums? It is I, Captain Steve, and today, chums, I have a little bit of news for you in the viewerverse. When I say news, it's more of a Twitter post from Sean of the Murrays, and this one is cryptic as hell, and it's not even really from him. It's just an acknowledgement of him, or somebody else's work, and somebody else's text, which is very cryptic. Anyway, it makes more sense when I put it on my scribble pad. Executamundo! Right, okay, so Holdera over on Twitter has done this awesome piece of art where she's added a consortment of notes coming up from a traveller holding out towards a planet, and it looks freaking awesome. Lovely work there, Holdera, but it's this comment from Xbox that really sort of tantalizes. Set your controls, enter a place and witness mysteries unfold, dangers we will face, our energies ignite, blazing away into the light. It rhymes, I guess. Thunder there, with an emoji of the Fresh Prince. Very nice. But then Sean Murray. Look, he's put up like a little thank you type praying hands type emoji. Like he appreciates it, or it has something going on there. And yeah, Olks up, one. I hope I've... Oscar one up. Sorry, Oscar one up. Here we go, let's click on him. He put out this. Here we go. So if I scroll down, he's put, only mad theories, please. Well... that's like a moth to a flame or a flame to a moth. Either way, it got me excited, so I typed this. The living egg would sing a melody. Perhaps the void will open if we play the right harmonic resonance at a boundary failure. We then enter into the darkness of space and board the freighter between suns that Ariadne boarded. Crazy enough. Found a lovely emoji. Heck yes. People say it's crazy, but they love it. Heck yes, they do. Awesome. Now that could be an idea. You know, as crazy as it sounds. I mean, Ariadne did go on a dark freighter during the weekend missions. That sort of area is left untouched. The living ship. Again, it was a melody of the egg. It was a void egg that goes into the void. Or you would have thought it came from the void since it's called a void egg. But then Sean Murray has put this up. Okay. Hypesolot, singularity. It's almost like he would like us to hype things up a lot. So, yeah... I could go about doing that, so here we go. I put out this to say, yeah, there could be a name of a new train. The Sean Murray Express 1616, the Hype Train. Righto, chums. Well, there is quite a lot of hype around No Man's Sky, especially when it came to launch of No Man's Sky, and we still have this sort of thing that pops up at the start of every trailer that says every rock, fish, cloud, tree, blah, 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 is procedural. Or is it placed by noise? You can be the judge of that one. Sandworms, we kind of got those hyped right from the off. We only saw those appear in Origins, chums. Now there's a lot inside of these trailers that I feel that they still need to bring into current iterations. The Sandworm being a prime example of it appearing in Origins, and Origins being a new foundational step in the way forwards that Hello Games wishes to push and pursue. So perhaps they're looking back at some of these older things where they actually did hype up the game and looking at how they can bring those into the verse, like the whole thing of every atom is procedurally generated. Before they used to talk about how voxel generation was going to procedurally generate the whole planet based on their own sort of elemental table and things. Well, you can dig and you can hit bedrock now. It just feels like a sheet laid over something. To be fair, you can fall through that sheet. You can see the world isn't really voxel generated. So perhaps they might be looking to move things back to how they actually stated they might be, and actually look at sort of generating a world based on voxels and how planets should be procedurally generated, rather than having set biomes, maybe looking at sliders, things like that. Now, Sean has put it out there, Hypesolot. I'm trying to just second guess what this might mean. I mean, Origins was a first step forwards, a foundational step in a new direction, or perhaps it's revisiting the old and bringing it into the new. It's like the whole thing with the rhino smashing down the trees. You know, a few scripted more elements like that would be lovely. We do have a scripted element. Under the water, when you pick some of those sort of weird things, sometimes a fish pops out, the Hadal cores or whatever they are, and chases you off. You know, that's similar. That's a similar scripted event to the rhino, so perhaps we might see more of that. Now, I know that I'm looking back for inspiration. The reason I'm doing this and looking back at previous videos is there's still quite a lot in these previous videos that we don't quite got now. Now, there's 4 pillars there. You may have noticed that it came up with explore, fight, trade, and the last one is survive. So there's 4 pillars to No Man's Sky, and a lot of people think that No Man's Sky is a chilled exploration experience. But you can see here right at the off there were 4 pillars. So perhaps a new update might strengthen each of those 4 pillars and give us a little bit extra when it comes to trade, because let's face it, it could do with a little bit more in trade. It's like your faction ratings. They don't really apply to the actual trade with all the different merchants, so what's the point in upping your faction rating? They could tweak trade massively. Combat, it looks like they started to tweak combat. They put the incinerator into the iteration and pulled it back out again, but they have programmed for it on haptic control. That's something we're kind of waiting to appear. I'm hoping that we get some more gnarly terrain, more crazy fauna like you're seeing in some of these videos. I mean, yes, we have got some crazy fauna, but nothing as majestic looking as that. Yeah, I mean, we've got beetles, but beetles, I can find one of those in my garden. I can't find one of these freaking crazy stun kite looking creatures. Heck no, I can't. And there's also a site-to-site teleporter here, which we haven't seen the light of day of, which I think is a nice concept, especially if they are talking about maybe going into the void. They could bring something like this that takes you to a parallel version of the planet, which could be quite cool. An infested void planet. So you go on a planet, it looks quite lush, you go through the void, boom, it's all infesticated. That could work. You know, there's a lot that they could bring into this verse. Sand planets and dune-type planets are definitely something that got teased, but yet still don't appear. Giant fauna that moves slower than their counterparts that are smaller, you know, like giantism and animation effects, you would have thought. It's like the Diplos, they move quite majestically. These giant striders in the background move quite majestically. We've got striders now that are about the same size as this. Do they move majestically? No, they frickin' run like Linford Christie. You probably don't know who he is. Think of Bolt Hussein, I suppose, or something like that. Anyway, similar. So, in way of hype, chums, I'm hoping that the big update this year contains a lot of what was teased, strengthens the 4 pillars, and adds a lot more variety and diversity to our universe. Heck yes, there we go. I think I've done a good job of hyping that up a bit, Mr. Sean. There you go, Hypesolot. I hope you're pleased, Mr. Sean Murray. Yeah, there we go, double thumbs up to me. Now, there's probably a lot of people out there in the verse that are like, no, Captain Steve, stop talking about the E3 trailers, please, no. Well, the only reason I'm doing that is because, you know, those things, they're not in the iteration now, chums. And they were in the trailers all that time ago. So there you go, that's why I'm mentioning them. Plus, also, Sean Murray did say that Origins was a new way forwards for them. So, please, add variation! And all the other things. Strengthen up the frickin' pillars. Yeah, the 4 pillars. Yeah, because at the moment it seems that a couple are being slightly overseen or neglected or just not even added upon for frickin' ages. So I'm hoping some of that happens, chums. I'd love to hear your comments. Please put them down in the comments area. And until next time, goodbye, goodbye, and goodbye again. Well, thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see, please hit a like and a subscribe. And I'd like to say a massive, great big thank you to all of my backers over on Patreon and over on YouTube membership. Thanking you, backers. And if you want to support this channel, just don't skip the adverts. That throws revenue down my avenue. Or yeah, just stay with Captain Steve that little bit longer and hit something on this screen. There's merch here now too.